Today, the United States Supreme Court heard the oral arguments in the case of Sebelius versus Hobby Lobby. This is a case of constitutional rights, rights to freedom of religion. We know from the case of Citizens United that money is an expression of freedom of speech. And now we're hearing the case of does a corporation, does a business have the same rights as an individual has? I say yes. Back in the 80s, my congressman came to my hometown and presented his health care policy. When it was over, he said to me, as one of the few employers in the room, "How much would my bill, if it becomes law, change the way you do business?" My answer to him was, "Probably not very much, unless you're going to compel me to fund abortion, in which case I quite likely will no longer be an employer." And that brought the house down. I didn't know I was in a pro-life church. A pro-life meeting was in a church. But it's the same principle today. The federal government cannot compel its citizens to violate our constitutional rights and violate our deepest held convictions. The Catholic Church's position is consistent with many others. Life begins at the moment of conception. It's sacred, and it needs to be preserved from that point forward. You cannot be forcing the funding of abortion on employers against their deeply held convictions. There are moral convictions and there are religious convictions, and they cannot be violated. And this Supreme Court, I'm hopeful, will come with a decision that will defend Hobby Lobby.